Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So doing another classic album inspection here today, and I'm going to be looking at UFO's No Heavy Petting album from 1976. Now, according to records, it came out in May, so I can't say which date it was for sure, but it's around 45 years old. In a lot of ways, is this a classic album? Well, I think it is. I think it's certainly a cult classic in the UFO canon. It's just people tend to remember Phenomenon more and Force It because of the songs that were on those albums, and then Lights Out and Obsession are both classics and come after this. I think the first port of call on this is their third album with Leo Lyons as the producer, and he harnesses a really good sound on this. I think the drums are really powerful. He really catches the power of Andy Parker on this. Bottom end's good, the bass Pete Way. Then Schenker's guitar, the double tracking's tight, and he's got kind of more hair, more distortion on, and it's a really punchy record. It's ballsy. And Phil Mogg's in fine form. If there's a criticism, it lacks a bit of clarity and separation and a bit of scope at times. But that's something that would, they would sort out on the next two records. But the opening track, Natural Things, written by Michael Schenker, Phil Mogg and Pete Way. So this is like probably the most well-known track off the album. So it's a good, straight-ahead rocker, really classic, UFO opener. And you notice the use of slide guitar on this from Michael Schenker, and that's something that'll turn up on the next track, I'm a Loser. So this is a great track, really cool slide guitar, like I said, from Schenker. It's acoustic, it's very folksy, and brilliant lyric from Phil Mogg, really about kind of homeless people down by the station. And he's kind of like Phil Lynott, he's creating characters and a time and a place with this. These first two tracks are the tracks that are on Strange in the Night. The rest of the tracks on the album are deep cuts, really, but they're really good. But that's really what typifies this album. It's one of those kind of albums that's a kind of deep cut album, and that's probably why it's not as well known. Track 3's really high tempo track called Can You Roller. Really good groove on this, really like it. If I've got a criticism of it, is Danny Peyronol, who's joined on keyboards for this album. He kind of uses tinsely sort of keyboard sounds, and it doesn't quite work. Later on when Paul Raymond joins and they're like, oh well, we'll have keyboards on this but just rhythm guitar on other tracks, that's what works better. They're still working out how to put keyboards in. I mean, I don't know about you guys, just jumping off beam a bit, but I never liked how the keyboards were put on Let It Roll live. I just thought that sounded awful, for me anyway. But this is a good track. It's got a really good little kind of post-chorus fill, quite neoclassical in a way. Really good track, really good tempo. And track 4's kind of classic UFO ballad. This is kind of the proto Try Me, or maybe Looking Out for Number One, that type of track. Really nice acoustic and piano part on this. And Michael does a really nice sort of multi-track guitar line at the end. And then side 1 finished with a track called Reasoned Love. Is it Reasons? Yeah, sorry, Reasons Love. This is just Schenker Mogg composition. I love this track. I think this might be the best sounding track on the album. It's got a really dirty riff. It's really tight. There's a loads of punch on the drums and bass. And it's a really cool Schenker guitar line. Actually, at the end of the solo, Schenker kind of double or triple tracks himself. It's almost a little jazzy. It's quite weird. He never really did anything else like that. They sounded like that on other albums. But yeah, so that's side 1 of the album, and like after the 2 well-known tracks have appeared, at the start, the other 3 tracks are really good album tracks. So I like it. And then side 2 opens with Highway Lady. This is a good kind of motorbiking song. It's got a fantastic Schenker solo. I think he used to play this live on this tour. It's probably not as strong as the other tracks that have been before, but it is a good tune. And then you've got like the sort of unsung classic of the album. This is probably the track that's maybe, the next best well-known track on this album. It's On With The Action. So brilliant Schenker guitar lines on this, and a phenomenal solo by Schenker. He does some licks in the middle that are just amazing for the time, amazing now. Quite unusual vocal by Phil Mogg on this in the chorus. He kind of adopts a slightly different timbre to his voice. I like the lyrics, it's about kind of kids hanging out on the street and the action you see. And it's later on he did a song called Making Moves, which would have a similar lyric. And he's great at that, Phil Mogg. When you hear his lyrics, it's like you could be on the street watching what he's seeing or experiencing, and like alongside Phil Lynott, he's one of those unique lyricists in hard rock. So this is a great track. It's 5 minutes and 3 seconds, so it's one of the longer tracks on the album. She just said this album's only 35 minutes and 16 seconds, so it just zips by, really good. Then the next track, Fool in Love, this is just a kind of stompy 4 on the floor rocker. Quite a nice bouncy groove, a little bit R&B-ish. I really like it again. Schenker does something quite cool on this. He kind of double tracks his lead break here, again, which he didn't usually do. And it just creates a different sound, you know. Danny Perrinol's keyboards work pretty well on this. So yeah, it's a really good track. And then it finishes off with Martian Landscape. This is Perrinol, Mogg and Randy Parker co-writing this. So this is the album's kind of epic finishing track. I suppose it predates a track like Love to Love, where they'll start to bring more instrumentation in, and I don't know, I think it kind of feels like it might have a bit of orchestration, but principally Schenker does a kind of triple tracked harmony line at the end that's just really really beautiful. And the acoustic guitar verses kind of hark back to tracks like High Flyer and Space Child and things like that off the Phenomenon and Fawcett album. So it's got elements of where UFO have been and where they're going to go. It's a magnificent ending track. I think Danny Perrinol plays Fender Rhodes on this with a bit of oscillation, vibrato, and it sounds really good. So, like, you know, it's one example where the keyboards are working well is on this track. So, you know, why didn't the album do well? Because the Fawcett album made number 71 in the Billboard charts, and UFO was starting to get, you know, as I always say, traction in the States. But the record company did sod all for this, and it charted, I think, let me check, it was 167 on the Billboard charts, it says here. So they're in that situation. A lot of bands are, right, you need a hit, lads. If you don't do it, you're getting the heave-ho. So the upshot of this album was that, you know, they went with Ron Nevison and we got Lights Out. But I really like this record. It's just got consistent playing, writing, and it's got like a whole sound about it. You know, I wouldn't say, although there's some tracks are like more numbers, I wouldn't say it's got filler tracks. It feels like it's a whole, you know, like Lights Out's got a couple of kind of filler tracks, which I really like, but they don't, you know, they don't kind of, they're kind of a little notch below those amazing tracks, whereas it doesn't really dip as much, this album, you know. It's just got a really nice run through it, and, you know, its running length's just right, you know. Okay, so yeah, 45 years old, around at this time, UFO No Heavy Petting. Hope you enjoyed that. Remember, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Cheers, thanks.